What up, everybody? It's your boy Young Fizz, aka mr.dopestatus on Instagram, and welcome back to another tutorial. Today we are back inside the Maschine, and today I want to help you guys understand how to use the compressor inside the Maschine. So this is going to be how to use the stock compressor inside of a Maschine. All right, so I'm gonna help you guys understand some of the parameters and everything like that. I'm also going to give you guys some more gems as well, so you definitely want to watch this video in its entirety. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. But before I do, I need you guys to go ahead and do me a favor, and that is hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and please do not forget to turn on the bell notifications. So whenever I drop a new video, you'll be the first one to be notified. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the tutorial, and that is understanding the compressor here. All right, so let's go ahead and load up a compressor here. All right. And before I even get into the compressor, I just want to go ahead and play the audio so you guys understand what I'm working with here. And I'm just going to go ahead and play this guitar loop here. All right, so it's a beautiful loop. It sounds good, and that's that. All right, so let me go ahead and just add this compressor. And so right now, you may say, you know, adding a compressor is fine. It sounds good, but what I don't like about this scenario here already is that my audio going into the compressor, it's already just slamming down on my audio already, and that's not what I want. It's at -10, and it's just, you know, slamming down on my audio, and that's not what I want. I like to control the signal that goes into my compressor, and to control the signal that goes into my compressor, I like to use something called a limiter. So I'm just gonna go ahead and click this plus sign right here, go to internal, and then I'm just gonna add a limiter. All right, so the next thing I wanna go ahead and do is go over to my little icons here. I like to turn them all on so I can see everything that I'm working with. And I'm gonna bring this limiter here. So I'm gonna click this limiter, I'm gonna bring it in front of the compressor. So now I can control my signal going into my compressor. So right now it's defaulted to -10. And if you haven't noticed right here, check out this, the gain reduction on the compressor. So I'm just gonna go ahead and play everything like it is, but check out the gain reduction on the compressor here. So one of the things I like to do is take the output ceiling, which is on the limiter, and gradually bring it down to I don't see any more compression on the compressor here. So I'm just going to bring it down to -10 just to kind of be safe. So now I'm getting a nice clean low signal going into my compressor. It's not hitting my compressor at -10 so hard anymore. And that's just going to give me, you know, a clean sound for my audio here. So that's one of the gems that I like to drop for you guys there. All right, so the next thing here I want to go ahead and show you guys is the actual compressor and understanding its tools here. All right, so the first thing I want to go ahead and talk about is the different modes of the compressor. And I think this is often overlooked because, you know, we load up a compressor and it's just set to classic and that's just what we use. And sometimes we don't even think to maybe click and see what feedback does. And so I'm gonna go ahead and click feedback, and I want you guys to listen to what the feedback is doing to the audio signal here. Let's go ahead and switch it back to classic. So if you guys are listening closely to the track, you can hear how the feedback just gives it this nice little grit and just adds this analog type of feel, just adding like a vintage feel to the audio signal here. So let's listen one more time to the classic. And now the feedback. Now I'm just going to go ahead and exaggerate this just a little bit more so we can kind of hear what it's doing. So basically it's just giving it a different flavor. Like I said, that nice vintage feel to the sound. And that's what the different modes do. So like I said, you have two different modes. You have the classic, which is clean. And then you have the feedback, which is more as like a vintage type of feel here. All right, so the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is the threshold. And that's knob is right here. And this is the knob I was kind of moving here. And basically what the threshold does, it says, when do I start working? Think of it as an upside down dimmer switch, right? So as you bring the dimmer switch down, the compressor is going to start working harder, all right? And bring it back up, it's not really compressing. So that, like I said, it determines that the point at which the compressor starts to work, all right? So the next thing I want to go ahead and talk about is the knee. And this is like a transitional thing with the compressor. A lot of times I like to keep the knee, all the way to 0. And what does that mean? Basically what that means is I'm gonna have a soft compression, right? So when it's all the way to the left, that means just saying, it's a soft transition. But if you want it 100%, that's gonna be a hard transition. So I want you guys to listen very closely to what it does when I have the knee to the left between the right, all right? So listen right here. So you can hear how the compressor just starts working right away when it's at 100%. But then when it's at the 0%, it just kind of smoothly starts working there. So I'm going to change this to make it, I want you guys to pay attention to the gain reduction here. So check it out. And so that is the knee here. All right. So basically, how smooth do you want the compressor to start, working? So it's almost like the attack. And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about next is the attack. And that means the time at which the incoming signal reacts. All right. So that means how fast do we want the compressor to start reacting? All right. So we have 0.00 milliseconds, and then we have all the way to the right 8.00. Well, which one is smaller here? Well, the 0.00, that means that's going to be working right away. So that's going to really smash the signal. So check it out. Compressor's working right away. Now let's go ahead and tune it all the way to the right. And you can hear how the attack comes in just a little bit more. And then compressed. It's really smashing, grabbing those transients right there in the beginning. Listen again. To the right. Sharper transient. So a lot of times in hip hop and a lot of like EDM music, you want to have a very slow attack. And so we'll move it all the way to the right, and that allows the punch to kind of get through. So if you want to tame a peak, you want to have this set, kind of like a medium, medium attack kind of right there in the middle. And that's going to allow you to kind of grab the peaks that jump through. So if you're playing like live drums or whatever the case may be, you're able to kind of get tame those hard kicks and stuff like that. So you're keeping your sound nice and even. And that's what enables you to have a great mix, is having everything in its own separate space. All right. So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is going to be the amount here. All right. So the amount is basically the ratio. And I don't know why they call it the amount. They can just call it the ratio. It's in percentages, but I mean, it is what it is. All right. So check it out. So when it's all the way to the right, that means it's hard compression. Basically, it's all the way up. All right. So when it's all the way to the left, that means it's not even working. So no amount of compression is being applied there. And then as you slowly bring it up, you can kind of hear how it's working. So if you want soft compression, bring it up a little bit. And this is like hard compression. So you can see how it just kind of changes the sound just a little bit. And then the next thing I want to talk about is the release here. And that's basically saying, hey, compressor, when do you want me to stop working? All right. It's saying, when do you want me to let go of the compressed signal? And so all the way to the left, so we have 40 milliseconds, right? And then you have all the way to the right, which is 251.0 milliseconds. So with this longer one, it's basically saying, hey, it's not gonna let go until after 251 milliseconds here. And so to the left is going to be a faster release. To the right is going to be a slower release. And you can kind of see that with the gain reduction if you pay attention right here. Look at the gain reduction. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it to a fast release and watch how quickly this goes up here. And now we're going to do a slow release, and again, you're going to see more of a sustain here. All right. So that is the release control on the compressor here. And finally, I want to talk about is the gain. Basically, this is called the makeup gain. You know, you lost some compression and you want to make up for it. So let's go ahead and compress this. You can control if you want to match it, or if you want to raise the output gain or the makeup gain. So that's pretty much what the gain does with the compressor and all that good stuff. So I covered a lot here. So I talked about the threshold. I showed you guys about the gain reduction. We always want to keep an eye on the gain reduction. You don't want to go too crazy with the gain reduction. You just want a little bit of compression, just to kind of see, you just want to kind of see just a couple dB, of gain reduction. I told you what all these controls, do here, how they operate. A little bit more I want to get into is the, let's go to sidechain input. So basically we have something called the source, and this is saying where your signal is coming from. So let's say I have a kick here, and I'm just going to go ahead and draw in a pattern here. It's going to be a 4 on the floor kick drum here. All right. So I'm just using that little kick drum. So in mixing, a lot of times, I would say, when I say a lot of times, like almost 95 and above % of the time, pro mixing engineers is using side chain compression, and that's to separate the kick from that 808. This is it's used a lot in mixing, and I want to show you guys how to do just that. With the guitar loop here. So again, my source, you're saying where is it coming from? It's coming from this kick here. So this is the trigger. All right, so track number 2 is going to trigger the compressor. And so I can come back over here and adjust how much I want. All right, so that is what the source does there. And the gain, pretty much self-explanatory there. Just adjusting the level of the side chain that's feeding the plugin. All right, so the next thing I want to go ahead and talk about is the frequency specific compression here. And this is what the filter does here. So you're able to select what frequency you want to compress. So it's frequency specific compression basically. All right. And then the width here, it just basically says the bandwidth is this, it's like a bell curve. It's like how much bandwidth of the filter does it, you want it wide or do you want it narrow? And that pretty much is the filter section there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys definitely go out and try the compressor and just kind of play with the settings on your own. Running through some vocals, running through a bass guitar, running through, different loops, drum loops, and you'll be surprised what this compressor can actually do with just using the stock compressor. It's your boy Young Fizz, aka Mr. Dope Status. Hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace out.